and Matthew Pavlich has won the toss, so the Dockers will kick to the left of screen. And, well, when you join the telecast, there was some rain coming down, but it only has just started. It's been a clear day here in Perth as we're set to go for this round 2 game. The Gold Coast Suns have gone very tall up forward as expected with the return of Rory Thompson. Sandilands wins the first knock. Coming in off that line quickly was Stanley. There's Kolodjasny for the first kick of the game and the first kick in AFL football. Dixon up, down, didn't take it. Still a chance though, Hall going past. Swallow was trying to get it to him. Another handball forward for the Suns. Johnson, Swarm, they get all around it here, the Suns. Dixon. Lynch. Duffield though for the Dockers. Dixon got a hand on it. Pushing it forward. It's frantic early as expected. Duffield want to be careful. They're trying to hold it in. It finally comes out to shore. Just gives it up and gives it to the big man, Sandilands. And away go Fremantle, courtesy of Hill. Not much to kick to, though. 2 going back for the Suns. Kolodjasny again.
This is perfect, Matty, for a start. They obviously locked the ball in. Weather conditions are going to permit that, but the way they got back and covered that exit, they knew Fremantle coming down the line. Really good start from Gold Coast.
Just while you're there, Ben, any particular end where that wind is blowing?
Nah, the rain, there's a bit of Forrest Gump about it, Matty. It's coming in sideways, straight down, and even straight up, so no wind to think of at this moment.
Sam Day just sliding in for that mark. This should be the first score of the afternoon. Tony?
Well, they've been fantastic. Just in this short period of time, only probably a minute and a half into the game, but the entries kept the pressure on Fremantle. They couldn't get a clear clearance, as Ben said then, and should finish off here for their hard work for the team.
2 goals last week, Sam Day. 30 metres out, almost directly in front. Not his best kick, but good enough. And they get the first goal, Gold Coast.
Dangerous kick. I always thought, Shorey, when you kick for goal early in the match and it's seriously wet, the ball still has that nice new feel to it, and it becomes even more slippery until you lose that and it gets a bit of waterlogged into it. You actually feel the leather, but not at the end of it very well.
My question to you, Derm, is they've gone very tall up forward with Dixon, Day, Lynch, Stanley. Wet weather, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Depends how they work it. Being big up forward, it's one of those ones you see in the wet. Pack marks, but pack marks taken on the chest. Yet, if you try pack marks in the dry, you never take them on the chest. It's more about body positioning and how you get on the end of the footy.
Fife got the handball out looking for Hill. Harbrow comes in over Pearce. The Matera gets in over there. They're hunting it, aren't they?
That's holding the ball. That's
really well.
That's a good decision there. I think this rule, you nearly got to just make it. There's no black and white. It's a grey. You know exactly if you pull it back in. It's going to be hard today. Free kick. Ablett was taken down off the ball.
Yeah, it wasn't by Crowley, it was by De Boer.
I watched that. Now, Gary he's right in front of you, Ben Dixon. He threw his legs out and went to ground so easily. So they've obviously made their mind up. They're going to stamp this out right from the get-go.
Yeah, that was the umpire that was at the Fremantle Docker forward line, some 60 metres away from contact.
I don't mind that. If a player, we want champion players to play, not unhindered, but off the ball. Those sort of things have to be penalised.
Well, I'm all on Gary Ablett's side, but I do mind that he threw himself to ground.
Matera makes no mistake. He kicks the second goal for the Suns, and they're off to a terrific start here in Perth.
Oh, well, you know what it's like, Derm. You've got to milk it for as much as you can. If the umpire falls, it just got him a goal now in a wet weather game. About those tools, Matty, in the forward line, I think the one thing about tools, have they got any ounce of ability at ground level? And I think the 3 forwards have. You know, Dixon's not bad at ground level. May's pretty good at ground. So those types of players. Sorry, Day's pretty good at ground level. So if you've got that option as getting a long option and then get it there, they've got to help the smalls also.
Quick fire start here for the Suns on a gloomy day in Perth. Very rare. We were hit last week. It was very hot between the Eagles and the Bulldogs. And this is the first real foray forward for the Dockers. May standing in the way and just bangs it out of the troubled zone. And Matera did well actually to get it towards Ablett. Looking for the free kick. Got another one, Durham.
Yeah. He did get touched there, but he rolled with the tackle. He milked that one again very well.
Looking for Prestia. Hill has good closing speed and he read it well.
Just having a look at the way they're set up here. Dicko, you'll get a sighter on this. But I actually think they've gone big in the forward line because they don't want Michael Johnson to be the drop-off man. And they have to keep players down there. in the wash-up, in the end, eventual matchups, to keep Johnson occupied and not a free runner.
100%. The spares that they created last week against Collingwood killed them, and Gold Coast have got the mindset, centre forward, they've got to get it in deep, and the big guys are going to help that, but it's what at ground level with these conditions it's going to lock the ball in, but you're spot on there.
Trying to get Duffield to be the +1 at the moment, but
who can use it as well.
Yeah, it's Pearce off the pack here. Pearce is right there running into the pack now on the far right-hand side. Pearce.
And I'll explain it in a second once this ball moves into dead territory.
Ballantyne's kick forward for Fremantle, out in front of Subin, can't keep it in, and we'll have a boundary throw-in.
All right, now they swapped over. Rory Thompson has Michael Johnson at half-back. He runs straight to the goal square. Then he swaps over to Day. Day swaps and pulls him back to the goal square. Whoever gets him, when the ball's in the centre of the ground or forward, will take Johnson right to the goal square.
Through Nichols' hands, Barlow started on the bench with Mundy, and they're both in this congestion here. 2 goals to the Gold Coast. Give them a 12-point buffer to kick things off. Sandilan's so dangerous in this situation. Nichols got a half a hand to it. Hill comes through. Prestia couldn't get boot to ball. O'Meara searching ball, looking for Lynch, but it was a good sport by the man that Dermot was talking about, Johnson. Unusual disposal, didn't get boot to ball.
That's a 2-on-3 there. That's a win for
Dawson sliding in, and they'll have another throw in.
That's a mini win for Gold Coast. They had a 2-on-3 with the ball at their feet.
They'll have a mindset today, boys, just take some ground. They know that Fremantle can move the ball quick. As I said, with the conditions going to be tough, but they'll just want to take ground. That's a win. Any 50-50, just halve the contest, that's a win for Gold Coast.
They would have had rain like this in Queensland too, remember? They played there a couple of times in the rain like that last year.
Many times.
So it does happen. It's not unusual for them.
Kolajasny can't get free. We've got a call from Swallow, and Swallow puts his head down, but it's against Ablett to Crowley. 1-all. And 50.
Now, that wasn't Gary who threw it back, though, was it?
I reckon.
Yeah, I think it might have been young. Hello, Nash.
There's the tackle just on the left-hand side. Ablett trying to get rid of it.
Gary's appealing for being shepherded off the ball.
Yeah, it wasn't given back in the right. Yeah, Kolajasny, the new bloke. It's 250s in the game. There's a bit of heat in it, though.
So Crowley to open the scoring for the Dockers. He's a very good set shot, and he reads that little bit of breeze at that end perfectly. Finishes off, has a bit chat, goal Dockers. Still going, of course.
If I was an older teammate of Gary Ablett, I would say to him, mate, don't ever text about him. Don't put anything up on Twitter about him. He now knows he has to go to you every game. He's probably going to go to him anyway. He's the best player in the comp, but he now knows that he's getting under his skin.
So the battle that we spoke of at the beginning of the broadcast is already becoming an important one. A couple of free kicks either way. Off the ground, Prestia. Day first to it. That's what Tony Shaw mentioned. Pretty good down low. Handball comes out Ward to Ablett. It's for a kick. It's going to be Ablett again. Crowd get involved now. They're starting to come back to their seats after they scampered for cover with that heavy shower. Ablett will give off. A little bit untidy here, the Suns, but Mackenzie's on the right side for his big left boot. The cannon misfires and he kicks it out of bounds on the full.
I want to know what Gary Ablett was trying to do then. The old small handball backwards to get the ball back again. If it's about possession, we know he's better than that. That ball, you've got to get distance with your kicks in these kinds of conditions. Get it to the top of the square and put Fremantle under pressure.
The ball down the line. Searching for Pavlich, and he almost marks it uncontested. May threw it on the boot again. Slides past everyone. Day didn't take it, was looking for Dixon. Dixon goes again. Taken by Swallow. Pretty clever handball to release Ablett. And he gets a fair bit of distance on his kick, but not enough to get past Lee Spur. And here go the Dockers. Spur's kick looking for Ballantyne. Can he manage to keep it in? No.
Although you've got all that tall timber up there.
There it is, Dern. Take us through this. What would this handball have done? Why was that given when you would just kick over it? It's just like adding
a little extra, just to
don't know.
Throw it off.
Kick the ball to the top of the square and put the opposition under enormous
Just
pressure.
for the sake of it, getting the ball in motion.
Yeah. Fife down low. Now O'Meara right over the top of him. Presti is there. Ballantyne flipped it back. Barlow could give on the up to Mazungu. To keep it in. Broughton does likewise. Fife battles hard, gets bundled over the line. Dockers get it forward.
Oh, nice control.
It's McKenzie. Got to be quick. Didn't know Ballantyne was coming, and the little man gets him.
He might have the silent soul zone. No awareness that he was coming up on him there. But that's also the job of his teammates to inform him.
The silent souls. I love it. Those slippers. Well, here's a kick inside the 50. Duffield claiming it. It bounced. Umpire in good position. Duffield still claiming it.
End zone has said he marked it.
Oh, hang on.
Was the umpire behind?
Different umpire.
End zone umpire said he marked it.
Well, the end zone umpire, let's have a look here. Oh,
That's
yeah,
that's a mark.
Yeah.
Good decision, but it's interesting that the end zone umpire was behind him, and the umpire that was officiating that could see it,
That's what I was wondering.
said hit the deck.
Go the distance here, Duffy.
Oh, it was a good kick. I'd back him from here.
I'd back him to hit it lace out on someone's chest. Set shot.
Let's go. Let's go left.
Got the distance.
Got me down. So that's the first behind of this late afternoon game here in Perth.
That's exactly why Dermot Brown was one of the greatest goal kickers of all time. And he keeps telling you that.
Okay. When you get off your high horse, we won't see you.
Good mark. And the target was Lynch, who'd come down. One of the three forwards we've discussed already.
That's good.
And found his man in Prestia.
They're playing this pretty well.
For me, we talk about, they've got some depth through the midfield, which you discussed with Guy McKenna. But it's those three forwards, when they get a few more games into it and really work together really well, that's when they'll be really dangerous. If they can find the footy here.
It's about how they mesh. I mean, if you have three really good... It's like having three leading men in a movie. You can't. You have to have one bloke who's the dominant soul and the other two have to play supporting roles. Otherwise, all three go to the one ball drop.
So Clooney, Pitt and Damon. Which one's Clooney? I'll let you work that out as we've got a scramble of players around the middle of the ground. Hill, Fife, just a fumble, slippery ball. Kolajasny should have got a free kick and he will.
Gee, started well, hasn't
He's fitted in pretty quickly.
Got a good body size.
34 possessions to 25 in favour of the Dockers. 2 goals to 1.
Kolajasny just 18 years of age. That kick's going to drop short. Bounces off the chest. Crowley trying to paddle it back towards Spur. Crowley wins another free kick.
Matty, you mentioned before about the conditions in terms of is there an advantage? There is a fair bit of wind now picking up towards Fremantle's end.
Yeah, left of screen. Yep.
So they've had most of this quarter without that wind assistance.
Just starting to pick up as Hill tries to do likewise, really, to try and get it to Mundy, who's so strong to keep it going. Walters wanted a free kick. Harbour tried to force it forward. Sandilands in the way.
Piece of soap, isn't it?
Yep. McKenzie up and under, and McKenzie kicks it out on the full again.
Now,
twice.
we see Ablett here is in the forward half. Now, they say that they're going to play him maybe 60-40, 40 in the forward line. I like to see that against Crowley. Take him away from the ball, isolate him even in the square if they can get enough penetration. He's a very dangerous player.
Especially at ground level in a one-on-one down there.
No,
Shorey.
I don't think we'll see too much switch and change of direction today in this weather.
Ball comes loose. Hall with pace. Harbrow zip-zap. Away he goes. Tumbles at 4, though. It's a tough one. Lynch gets around but just drops it. Now he's forced to handle out wide. Riscatelli stops, props, balances up, settles with his kick. Shaw and Dawson is courageous. He wins the free. And they play on quickly. Here's a switch to Barlow. It'll drop just short of him. By hand back.
Be interesting to get your opinion of it. Back in the old days, the really powerful midfielders, that really heavy through the hips, loved the wet weather. We don't have that many wet weather games anymore. Who would you say are good wet weather players made for wet weather, Shorey?
Gee, that's in the modern game now.
I reckon Barlow plays pretty well in the wet.
Yeah, you would think so. I tell you what, his coach was a very good, and you talk about that type as in wet weather player, Ross Lyon. I think whether they recruited him before Ross got here, but that's what he was. Strong body, strong in the hips, and loved this sort of stuff.
Able to stand over it. Well read there, and the ball just held
held
a
up,
little bit right to left, so that wind is starting to take effect on the flight of the ball.
I think O'Meara will get there as a good player in this type of stuff.
I don't think the conditions are going to worry Jagger O'Meara. Jagger or Jagger? What do we go with?
Jagger.
There you go.
Respective coaches looking on. 2 goals to 1 game. Just over halfway through this first quarter. O'Meara's with Hill at the moment. It's an interesting matchup.
Pierce out the back here.
Prestia wins it. Floats it forward. Lynch the target. Suns get in each other's way there. Ablett. Beaten to it by Subin. Somehow it comes out towards him. Well done, Riscatelli. Go for the Swallow. Here's a chance for Hall. This is his job. Kick goals like that. And he's butchered that badly.
Oh, yeah. And he had big Tommy Lynch 20 metres out directly.
How good was that, Michael Riscatelli? The knowledge of, too, knowing that he could get to his knee or sort of get around with the ball instead of it just falling out and losing his feet.
Dicko Matty de Boer comes back on the ground. Heavy bandaging on his left calf. Is that... I don't think it's a strain, but maybe a cut. Did he get a blood rule or something?
Hang off, I think it might have been even a cork dermy, so a bit of compression maybe. It's on one of those tender spots near the bottom of your leg, but I'll inquire about that.
So boundary throwing out of side.
Brow defensive side of the pack here.
Fife was there, diving over the top of it. He's got strength to try and get past Ablett. Subin breaks from the congestion. The handball looking for Pavlich. Probably not what he was expecting.
What a great challenge for Gold Coast mentally. Can they stay in the game hard enough for long enough against, obviously, Fremantle, who pride themselves on their mental game?
Yeah, well, their contested possession last year was fantastic, Gold Coast too, Benny. So they're not daunted by that, I don't think. But you are right, the bigger bodies will just see how long it can go for.
Ablett worked it nicely to Shaw. Cameron forced to go in a circle. He kicks off the outside of the boot and he holds up again. Reading it best again was Fremantle, this time Duffield.
Well, Matera's got to take Duffield back. If that's the matchup, just get him back a bit deeper.
Chance the Dockers. Cameron's got to go for the Gold Coast.
Did well.
Beats Main to it. Puts it on the left. He's just hoping to clear it. If it goes out of bounds, he'll be happy. It does.
6 possessions at Duffield so far, Matty, and he's kicked a point. So I think you've got to relate to that. If you're not winning the ball yourself, just take a dangerous player out of the area for a while.
Sandilands makes good position. Swallow with his 7th handball for the quarter. Hasn't kicked it yet. Riscatelli. Zungu back. And happy to take it over. So good contest this. Very little between the two teams early. Sandilands. Ablett couldn't get boot to ball. Swallow off the ground. It's been busy. And again, all they do is get it forward further and it's out again.
Might have a busy day here, Matthew. I don't think there's going to be a lot of science in this one.
Nothing pretty about that, just forcing the ball forward in the wet weather. Nichols. Falcon from Mundy. The kick forward from Prestia. Bounces through from behind.
Got their nose ahead so far. Contested possession, 29 to 22 here. The Gold Coast, and also 9 to 6 clearances. So they're not intimidated at all around the ball at the moment.
Lovely bounce work from Mundy there to just hit it clearly. Bounce work. To hit it clearly over to Prestia.
Hit-outs already, Aaron Sandilands 12. Hit-outs to advantage, Sandilands 3. Brent Nichols and Jack Hanneth have had 1 hit-out each. So in the wet weather, you tend to get stand and deliver. Not a lot of jumping happens at the boundary line throw. So we'll watch Sandilands here. He should. Remember that wonderful rucking game he played against Geelong in that final down there last year? Barlow remembers it. Let's see how he goes here.
Hanneth this time. De Boer.
He's gone forward.
Yep. Johnson. It's coming in his direction, Dirk. Thompson, though, is just a spoiling machine, Rory Thompson.
Yeah, it's not a massive. Matter of fact, I don't think that'll work for Fremantle today as much as you would think. You know, in dry weather, at ground level, he just hasn't got the agility. But he's an out clause, isn't he, at the top of the square?
Free kick. Gold Coast ball. It'll be Harbour out the bottom. Sees a man out wide. Hall through his hands. Barlow. Zungu touched off the boot. Harbour runs it. Misses it. Ballantyne wants the free. Didn't get it. Hands it off to Main. He's got a man out wide within scoring range. Johnson from 45 metres for the Dockers. Big Michael Johnson goes bang.
And there is one of the reasons why you need to occupy Michael Johnson with a good player so he doesn't feel the freedom and the liberty to run off and get in an attacking position forward of the centre. He's legitimately playing third key tall defender at this point in time. He slid down the right side and into play there.
So Michael Johnson evens up the scores. 2 goals, 1 apiece.
I'd say, Dicko, Tom Lynch has come to the bench and Day has come back on, so I reckon he's rushed forward on the change then of Lynch. Got freed up.
Slippery ball again. Mundy first to kick it forward. Walters looking for it. Pavlich beats him to it. Hill, so clever with ball in hand, towards Sandilands. Coming at it, and he waits back. Thompson tries to smother it. Gordon wants the free. He's going to get it. The former Docker. Let's take a look. Yep.
It's tough for Big Sandy to get him below the shoulders.
Here's Johnson.
2 on 1 here. And all Day had to do was make a contest. That's what he did. O'Meara can't get free. He hasn't been free so far in the entire game. Matera on hands and knees. Spur.
Oh, that's nearly intentional. That's got to be intentional. Yeah, he's handballing to his family in the crowd there.
He did bite off a bit of distance going his way, so he gave the umpire a little out to hang his hat on.
So Hanneth to do battle with Nichols. Got a loose man in Subin just off to his right. Mundy stepping, floating it, beats everybody. Chance for Fremantle. Thompson comes at Ballantyne, puts him down. And Ballantyne gets up and wants a free kick. He's so good at it.
Yeah, here's Sandilands now going to the bench, boys. I don't think they'll go with this very often in the game if this rain continues. Just on and off the bench, I would think.
Well, the last 2 entrances deep into the Fremantle forward line, he hasn't been able to make the dropping ball.
After the throw in, plenty of players around it. Fremantle just trying to squeeze it forward. It comes out before anything positive can happen from either team.
Set up all right here, Fremantle.
I think Hanneth might try and come away from goal, you would think. There's a lot of numbers.
Pearce on his own here.
Oh, there it is there, right there.
Ablett to try and clear. It's a race between Shaw and Mzungu. Mzungu's so clever, used his body, collects it and kicks it, and kicks a magnificent goal. Mzungu!
Gee, that was a good play.
Oh, was it?
But I think Shaw's going to be a very good player, but Mzungu has got a very strong body on that occasion. And then the balance and had the foresight to think or know that you weren't under enormous pressure in the forward 50 once you win a contest like that. Let's have a look at it again. A little bit off balance, Shaw didn't. Yeah, it just wasn't hard enough in his stance when he went at the nut.
Just wasn't expecting the physical contact, was he?
Good play.
Two goals in a row to Fremantle, and all of a sudden they have the lead.
Just leveraged off the ball there, the line as well. Sorry, when you were coaching, if you saw a bloke not capable of holding himself, was it frustrating as a coach when you see that?
Yeah, that was just, I think he didn't have an awareness of maybe just hem him a little bit. You mightn't have got to the ball first any time.
They're built for certain specifics players, and that's not his go, but it must be one you think, God, if we're just a little bit more robust over the ball then.
If it happens too many times, oh, it's interception here. O'Meara did well.
Forced to kick it, didn't really want to. Again, Lynch goes down.
See the pace of McFarlane then to make that drop.
Yeah, ricocheted ball though. Sutcliffe going back. Dixon hot on him. Day gets a shepherd from Dixon. And the kick hits Mzungu. And the clearing kick hits the boundary.
Well, I think if that happens too many times, you get pushed off the ball like that, Doom. You worry about, one, their intelligence of why it happens, or their body strength, which they might never have.
And as I said, some players are built for certain procedures, and they're never going to get that.
Coming through Fife, wasn't it?
He's built to just about do everything.
Yep.
Free kick to Walters.
Just feels Dicko at ground level.
50 metres again.
Dicko at ground level, you can tell us it just feels like they're starting to assert, as we were talking about, a little bit of physical authority now.
Oh, no doubt, around the contest especially, and their weight of numbers too, Dan. When that ball went back, they all screamed back in numbers. Gold Coast a little bit slack with their intensity, so you can feel it down at ground level.
2 50-metre penalties for not giving the ball back correctly. Guy McKenna, very disappointed with that. I'm sure to be addressed at quarter time, but it shouldn't need to be addressed. Walters from outside 50.
That's a great kick.
Wonderful hit, wonderful goal. They're up by 2.
In this type of weather too, sure. It has been proven that when it's raining, this is scientific.
Here we go.
It goes, the ball going through the air, touches, depending on how far it goes, X amount of water, which takes pace off the ball. And in the words of the actual scientific finding, they act like miniature hammers against the ball, and they accumulate and take pace off the footy.
Oh, boy.
Is there any common sense when May threw that ball back, actually slipped out of his hand?
Yeah, and the umpire.
Mackenzie was.
But you know what? There is, but it's not an excuse. It's actually not an excuse. I actually asked that once before, Benny, and it is no. That way you can accidentally do it thereafter and not be penalised for it if you can disguise it well enough. You have to make sure the onus is on you to get it back in an acceptable fashion.
Maybe those miniature hammers got involved and just caught the ball from getting to where they needed to get.
I was just going to use the words of a famous professor who said, "Why is it so?"
That's what it is. The ball travelling through the air hits water in the air. Takes the pace off it.
They are getting on top here, Fremantle. They're winning the ball at the stoppages, and Barlow getting plenty of it. And they're just lurking here, coming through Kolodjasny. Hill falls for him. Barlow again. Forward one-on-one situation here. Hannah, Thompson. He just didn't want it. He just knew the boundary was there.
He has good balance for a bloke who seems to have incredibly big feet, Rory Thompson. You got a side of those.
So Dockers have kicked the last 3. Suns would want to get one back before quarter time. Touch closer. May. We've seen a bit of that from him so far, just clearing out of the danger zone. High ball comes down and falls for Spur. And Mackenzie standing in the way.
Just need a bit of switch done. I know it's hard in this type of weather, but they did it fairly well early. And look, Freo's pressure's just lifted too. There's no doubt about that.
Kick was aimed for Stanley. Hill got in the way, but he couldn't quite get the clearing kick. It's going to go their way though. Main searching. A bit of evasive skill was pretty good there from Lemons.
Matty, in 7 minutes, they had an advantage of 8 contested possessions at Gold Coast. They're now down by 5.
Yeah.
So it's been a 7-minute period of enormous pressure from Fremantle and ball winning from Fremantle.
They're setting up on the defensive side here. You've got Fife, you've got Mundy, you've got Hill further back. And you have, of course, the battle between Crowley and Ablett continuing. Out comes Day. This time he fumbled. He's been pretty clean below the knees. Lynch. Hot ball. McFarlane. New Pearce was there. Good tackle. Wonderful tackle from Prestia. Lemons it was, I should say. Still going the Suns' way. Riscatelli beaten to it by Mundy. Oh, gee, Fife. Did he kick his teammate? Went for the big boot off the ground. Crowd saw it. Mundy did likewise.
In the last 21 minutes, Shorey, Gold Coast have dropped to 23% for their kicking efficiency. So only 1 out of 4 kicks is hitting the target. So if you take that in a rough rule of thumb, 3 kicks to get the length of the field, that's semi-dangerous. Yeah, they're just not going to get into their forward line.
Another ricochet ball, but it comes to De Boer. His kick out wide, hoping for Hanneth. Thompson's got speed. Main will tackle Thompson. Pearce. Swallow goes back. Hooks it around the body. Mundy, strong body. Yeah.
Fremantle.
May with the spoil. 1, 2. Swallow again. This time he has a little bit more time to balance on the left boot. Goes through Lynch's hands. Day with Johnson. Day went to ground. Johnson slipped it to Crowley. Off the outside of the boot, the check side kick. Nichols and Sandilands. Sandilands too big, too tall.
Now Mackenzie's dropped back onto Pavlich now, so if they get quick penetration down there, you're going to have a big, big body against the flanker.
And here it comes. Or is it? Subin couldn't get free. De Boer. Nichols had to stand his ground, and he did. Here comes Main. Here's the siren, though. So after a very quick start by the Gold Coast, they kicked the first 2 goals of the game. Fremantle took control, especially in the second half of that quarter. And on the scoreboard, kicked the last couple. So after the rain came, the scores have as well. 25 plays 13, quarter time here from Patterson's. Fremantle by 2 goals.